Operator,
Enquiries, can I help you?
could you get me the following number? Ferroreactive Electrodynamizer, Fred for short, Galaxy XL, Central 5077, System APOL, Planet D.
Just a second, sir. Hyperspace Thought Channel B. I'm putting you through to the requested planet. System Apol, Planet D, local name Xella, name of subscriber, Ferroreactive Electrodynamizer, Fred for short, region Raka, municipality Ulima, life cell KOM 567, number 93421. Hold on, sir.
Hello, Fred.
Hello, who's thinking?
It's me, Silly Kojak.
Silly Kojak? Ah, Silly Kojak. Haven't heard from you for light yonks. How's life?
Can't complain. Your end?
My diodes have been giving a little trouble. Nothing to worry about, though. How's the polysilico dicarbonylotope?
She's just fine. And yours?
Oh, not too bad, thanks. One of the mini silly kids has just had a bout of electron rash, but seems to be getting over it.
Yes, there's been a lot going around of late. It's those pulsars cause the trouble. And then with the cosmic weather.
Something awful, eh? When are you coming round these parts?
Hope to be down in a couple of light centiyonks. Of course, they still haven't cleared up the trouble on the intergalactic superphotonic highway.
Yes, a stray black hole messed up the intertemporal conversion exchange. Anyway, they've cleared up the trouble now. How have things been at work?
All right. Business has been a bit slower, of course, mainly as a result of the robot android strike. The robots protest their status as second-class citizens and want parity with the androids. Same old story. Oh, did I tell you about my spot of bother when lighting down the MW6 6 light centiyonks ago?
Can't recall. Sounds interesting. Tell us then.
Well, I was just changing up into post-photonic drive when the console indicated that my rear expulsor was losing pressure. There was nothing for it but to pull in at the nearest astro station of the IGAA. I slowed down to a gentle drift and turned off the MW6 down a minor space lane I'd never been along before. A space beacon pointed to a 9-planetary system to starboard. I scouted around for a likely landing place and plumbed for the 3rd planet from the central star, high oxygen and hydrogen content.
Any intelligent life there?
I found some quite intelligent swimming creatures in the salted H2O and flying creatures in the atmosphere. As far as terrestrial creatures are concerned, I can only speak of the most dominant life form. Bipeds, upper limbs with 5 protrusions on both extremities. Communication based on sonic vibrations. Form of reproduction, sexual.
Sexual?
You know, like the Libomils on Xantu.
Oh, like that, eh?
They do evince an intelligence of a kind, a high degree of social organization, ingenious modes of communication and self-expression, a degree of technical skill, relative, of course, to their stage of development. They have made a modest beginning with space exploration, having reached their local satellite and sent probes to neighboring planets. They have no inkling of superphotonic transfer or supermaterial physics or telepsychics, except perhaps in certain religious concepts.
Yes, in a relative way, they're reasonably intelligent beings, then.
Well, yes. If you compare their intelligence to other life forms in terms of the categories I mentioned, but in other respects the picture is quite different.
I'm not quite with you, Silico Jack.
As yet, they have failed to think in planetary terms. Though their intellectual abilities allow them to grasp the dangers they face, theoretically at least, they cannot collectively apply this knowledge or remove and lessen these dangers.
What dangers, Silico Jack?
First and foremost, self-destruction by their own nuclear weapons. They say that the first inhabitants of the planet Diepru developed similar weapons before they died out. There was in fact a causal connection.
Why did they make these weapons?
The two most powerful political entities developed them to defend their respective politico-social systems. They were emulated by other powers who considered that some security or prestige attached to the possession of the means of destroying members of their own species on a massive scale.
Hold on, Silico Jack. What's a socio-political system got to do with intraspecial destruction? I can't understand it.
Put simply, Fred, they're prepared to kill each other 10 times over because they disagree so strongly about the best way to live.
Let's see. What? But they all belong to the same species, I thought.
That's the strange thing. Some of the lower species on the planet will attack each other if threatened or confused, but only in a panic situation. These bipeds are rational creatures, though. Another thing, the slight differences that do exist in terms of coloration, stature, and so on, apparently cause hostility and friction.
Silico Jack, I don't get that.
Well, you know the inhabitants of the southern hemisphere of the planet Uyo, what they're like?
Some of my best friends are Yakakipos. They're sort of splodgy on a purple background.
And the northern hemisphere, the Ogly Boglis?
No, the Ujiboglis. They've got violet stripes on an ochre background.
They get on all right, don't they?
Oh yes, pretty well.
They don't kick each other saying, "Take that for your violet stripes," or "pink spots."
No, they get on all right.
Do they intermarry?
Very occasionally.
And the offspring?
Some very interesting combinations. Quite decorative.
But on this planet, they attack or insult others because of differences of colour. Funny.
How long did you stay there?
I orbited the planet, made a few observations, then landed in a lonely, uninhabited spot where I could change my expulsor without further ado. I contacted the IGAA, and one of their patrol ships soon arrived, and my vehicle was fully shipshape.
Were you seen by any of these beings?
A few times. Ray Cathosynthetron, who sometimes travels that way, tells me that sightings of interplanetary vehicles aren't taken that seriously. Theoretically, they know that their planet is an infinitesimal speck in the universe, but in their heart of hearts, they still believe that they are the center of the cosmos and the pinnacle of all creation.
Funny lot. It sounds really quite quaint.
Why don't you go and have a look for yourself?
Do you know something, Silico Jack?
What, Fred?
I think I'd prefer to take your word for it and stay at home.